It's Deleonardis, but everybody always gets it wrong, so it's okay. My name is Peter Deleonardis. I am the Vice President and Portfolio Manager at New Era Life Insurance Companies. So today I'm going to talk to you about behavior of fixed income funds during COVID-19 market turmoil. Pretty much what I'm going to talk to you about is my experience from it. You know, I could show you a bunch of slides, put nice fancy pictures of maps and graphs, but it's really experience that I believe is really what opens people's minds and aspects, especially when you talk to people one-on-one. So pretty much what happened. 2019 came, everything is hunky-go-rosy. People are buying fixed income, 30-year paper, trying to get at least 4 to 5%. You want investment grade? Okay. People are thinking, it's safe, nothing's going to happen. Then the pandemic happened. Did we really expect for that to happen? I don't think anybody really saw that coming. Yeah, there were rumors, people talked, but things really got bad in March 2020. I mean, we're talking chaos. Chaos. Not just investment, but personal. I'm talking about people turning on other people for the littlest things. Emotions running high. People wanting to kill each other just for toilet paper and peanut butter. I mean, I couldn't believe it. But one thing that I know for a fact is that while there's chaos, there's also opportunity. But I never expected, especially from fixed income, because back in the day, everybody always assumed that bonds was the most safest investment. 30-year paper, I mean, especially, let's say, back during the Carter administration. We're talking inflation, treasury rates double digits, but at the time, that was a norm. Pandemic happens, everything goes down. And that's the thing, I work for an insurance company. Anybody else work for an insurance company or deal with fixed income? Okay, I see a few hands. You have to follow the rules and regulations, right? I'm pretty sure TDI and AM Best have a hit on me because I'm that kind of person that loves to use loopholes. And especially during the pandemic, you really had to go outside the box. And I knew, especially me being a young kid, I'm only 31 years old, I really had to stand outside the box to really beat the best of the best out there at their own game. So I had to strategize and see, okay, let me throw out the old textbook. Everybody keeps on going back, continual education, look in the book. I'm like, no. For what's going on, there's no book that could really teach you on what is going on and how to fix it. You need a fresh perspective. So I pretty much had to use an old school mentality and splice it with a brand new fresh concept of emotion, psychology, and pretty much anticipating what our country and other countries or people's actions will do in the current environment to generate more money. And I'll give a perfect example. 2020, especially with all the lockdowns, what happened? We were pretty much locked in a cage. Especially transportation, you halt airlines. You halt all travel. Especially there's a lot of people who do a lot of international travel. So what do you think a lot of people are going to be doing to all the travel bonds? They're going to be selling them. Somebody such as myself, if I see opportunity, I'm going to take it. But especially what I saw, the biggest thing that causes all that is one word: fear. Fear plugged in by the media, our own government, and especially a lot of other news organizations, social media, just keep hedging, because they knew there are ways to scare people to make money. It's been done our entire life, and it continually happens all the time. And if we do not believe that, we're kidding ourselves. So my experience was, okay, how can I use that fear to my advantage? So I automatically thought, okay, the human race itself, this is not how we die. This is not how we die. We're better than that. We're stronger than that. So we have to take emotion out of it. So what would be the key industries that are vital to human society? One for a fact, travel, lodging, even entertainment. I went in beyond, I even invested in MGM International because I knew people are still going to gamble even if they're locked in their apartment or house, you name it. Because you have to keep on thinking, okay, if this is the new world, how can we adapt? How can we evolve? That's where we have to go. And that's how we have to continually go. A lot of people keep going back to the old theories. Oh, more announcements. Old school mentality is good, but we need to adapt it with a more fresh concept. Because people will still use fear to corrupt your mind and decisions. And especially, there's always going to have many other people with many other ideas thinking, okay, this is the way we have to go. But unfortunately for people such as myself that work in the insurance industry, you have to follow regulations set by the states. And unfortunately for a lot of people who use a bunch of the funds, a lot of them are investment grade. Now what are you going to do if, I'll give a perfect example, Carnival Cruise Lines or United Air, Delta. A lot of those bonds, they were investment grade, top earners. Second the pandemic comes, downgrades. People had to sell. People were scared. People were thinking, oh, this is not a safe investment anymore. I didn't think that for a second. All I saw was people getting too scared that this pandemic was going to be annihilation. I was like, no. It was very sad for whatever happened, but at the same time, we're in the business of making money, and if there is opportunity, we have to jump for the long term. Not just for ourselves, for our families, and especially for the companies we work for, and especially if it's our own companies. We always need to continue to shift our mindsets, to evolve our mindsets. And a lot of times, I think the biggest problem that a lot of people have, we are so hung up on image, what something looks like, especially with people. I see it all the time. Judgment, boom, right at the initial, don't even look again. Like, why? Sometimes with the people you least suspect could be some of the best people you ever met. Same thing could be with an investment. Fear can do that to all types of people. We all have our limits, but we also have our mentalities and our mindsets. I'm pretty sure everybody here has their own ideas of how to make more money during times like this, whether it's in crypto, fixed income, stocks, real estate, opportunity zone funds, you name it. We have to continually shift our mindsets because behavior always changes. It's never fixed. If we lived in a world where behavior was fixed, it'd be boring. But with bonds, it's funny. From what I've seen is that it has the inverse effect of what it was in 2008, 2009. Does everybody remember all the CDOs and all that toxic debt? A lot of it, they replaced investment grade. In reality, it was all toxic. Now I feel like that exact same concept is reversed, 180. Everybody's too scared now. Things are going to happen. Things have to continually change. You have to change. But especially with fixed income, there are many opportunities that a lot of people don't even think about in the bond world, debt markets. I'm talking double-digit yields. But unfortunately, some people, they cannot invest in non-investment grade because it goes against their regulations. But that's why I say, then we need to change those rules, because it's impossible for somebody to stay in business, especially in times like this, if you have to follow that old handbook. See it happen all the time. Egos run wild. People think they got all the answers and they can't even own up to it. And I'm like, that's exactly why you have to change it up. I get it all the time, especially being a younger person from an older generation thinking, oh, you don't know nothing, kid. I'm like, okay, that's your opinion. But if you already put that block on there, you're not expanding your mind thinking, what could I learn from somebody else? What is there that I can help myself and also my portfolio, my company? That's what really matters. Especially for me, I never would have thought that a 29-year-old kid at the time, busting everything he could to try and get his shot. And finally, when I saw everybody selling millions at a time, United, American, Delta, Carnival, even a lot of these oil and gas companies. And I figured, I'm from Texas. Oil and gas has always been the standing grace of Texas. And I see a lot of people scared out of their minds. But not now, especially with the war in Ukraine. Unfortunately, a lot of those people are happy, even though a lot of terrible things are happening overseas. But those people are putting emotions aside because they're thinking about business, behavior change. That's what it's all about. But I always try to tell people, okay, I'm not saying change what you're thinking. I'm saying is don't be quick to say, no, that's not going to work. You could be surprised what you could learn from a different investment, a different person, a different idea. I mean, I see a lot of people always talking about crypto. I still don't fully understand it, but I'm not afraid to kind of dabble with it and continue to grow on it, because I do believe there's a future. And in my future, I definitely want to continue to grow and also put more money in my pocket. But I would say the biggest thing is having that game plan, sticking to it, but continually changing it, because change is going to happen whether we like it or not. New president will always come in, things will change. There's always going to be another crisis. A war will probably happen here and there. Who knows? We can never fully tell on when these things are going to happen. We can anticipate and analyze. But we always have to do the best that we can. We can never get it right every time. No one has a crystal ball. But if we think and plan, analyze, interpret, and shift change, believe me, you can make more money than you ever dreamed of. And during the pandemic, what I saw was if you learn how to anticipate people's emotions, then you have a better idea of what they're going to be doing, especially long term. And especially with our current government, yeah, things are crazy. And I think the biggest thing that has been on a lot of people's minds is what's going to happen if Biden is still in there for another 4 years? Or what's going to happen if another president comes in? What's going to happen? What's going to happen to inflation? What's going to happen to gas prices? What's going to happen to the war in Ukraine? We don't know. But we have to evolve our mindsets to have a better idea of what to do, how to get there. Because again, like I said, we are in the business of making money. So a lot of times you have to go outside the box. And sometimes what I always call is that there's a hunt, meaning a large window of opportunity to grab as much as you can. And luckily for me, that was the pandemic. I mean, let's put it this way. Would most of you give a 29-year-old kid over $100 million to play with? Probably not. But I was fortunate and really humbled that my company believed in me. There was a spark of hope that said, this is new, it's a little dangerous, but let's do it. So, okay. But one thing that I did was I had to learn, okay, what are all these big fund managers doing? What can I do different? Using their old playbook and just evolving it with my new ideas. My biggest thing was getting senior secured paper and also look for those top companies that were really hit hard by the pandemic so that I would have my protection, high income, and most importantly, keep my duration low. Because again, pandemic happened, all these changes are happening. Who knew what the future was going to be like? We still don't know what the future is going to be like. Back in the day, you could ask any fixed income person, they would always tell you you'd want 10 to 30 years. Me, I've recommended the company 5 to 7. We have no idea what could happen. New things happen all the time. I really hope there's not another pandemic or outbreak or war, but we have to accept the fact that more things like that might happen. And we'd have to anticipate and prepare for that. But every battle strategy always has to continually change, but you want that foundation to keep your eye on the ball. And fortunately enough, that my ideas have not only driven that pandemic portfolio, and that's what I've called it, so far now that 100 is now over 250 million, yielding over 9%. And now my AUM is over $1 billion. Yeah, pretty big numbers. But I know is that we're heading into a world where, yeah, you could get a lot of money like that in a small window of time. The real key is, how do I keep it up? How do I keep that fire growing? You can build a big bonfire, but you got to keep on feeding it for it to be big. And where we're going, it's scary. And I think the biggest part of it being scary is because it's completely unpredictable. But that doesn't mean, be afraid and not do anything. Accept that fear and keep going through it. It's the only way we grow. That's the only way we survive. That's the only way that we thrive too. But if there's anything to take away from this, don't let any small idea, any radical, or anybody giving you the certain, changing concepts. Doesn't matter what they look like, how old they are, where they're from, you have no idea that a small shift in mindset could lead you down another path that could better your life better than you'd ever expected before. Not just for yourself, but like I said, income, your company, and your future. So I'm going to leave it right there. I know I got some time left for some questions. So is there anybody who has a question? I'd love to hear one. No? I could do a joke. No? Yes, sir.
Is there anything that that makes you think, concept that plays back in your mind on a regular basis that brings you to the awareness of what I would call, you're saying, the miss, the other people are missing this opportunity, you're catching it. Why?
If I had to be honest, I think a lot of it had to do with me understanding people. And I'll tell you a really quick summary why is, unfortunately, I had some adversity dealings when I was a child, some problems with my hands and feet, and I had to have surgeries. And a lot of it, I had to deal with people, giving me stares, looks, bullying, you name it. And especially when you're in the hospital and you got people staring at you, that's the worst. But after years and years in time, especially stopping, observing people, understanding mindsets, actions, why people do things, more and more and more I grew. I knew I had to evolve myself in understanding what people might do. It's like almost probability in a way. Enhance that foundation. And then when I got older, I figured maybe I can apply that same foundation to business. But I had to wait for my right opportunity. And it's crazy that the pandemic was the perfect opportunity and that boosted my career.
Thank you.
Anybody else? All right, thank you very much.